Hey guys, let me turn this lamp on. Maybe that'll give us a little more light. Hey guys, I am so excited to teach you this lesson. I think it's pretty interesting learning some of these signs and discussing the type of residence you live in. So this will be a pretty fun time. Hopefully you're watching these videos and you're learning a lot. If you don't watch these videos, or you know one of your friends that isn't, have them watch them because they will make a huge difference in being behind or really knowing everything and making a 100 or definitely a really high on a quiz or test coming up. Okay, so we are going to go ahead and get started on identifying these different types of residences. So this is the first one. And you probably know, my circles are horrible, but you probably know that this is going to be a house. And the sign for house is, you put your hands like this, and you just frame a house. House. Okay, and then the next one, this is an apartment. Some of you may live in an apartment. And for apartment, it's pretty easy. You're just going to finger spell the initials, A-P-T. A-P-T. Again, A-P-T. Good. All right, this next one. None of you live in one of these yet, but you could when you go to college. I lived in one when I was in college and absolutely loved it. Some people hate them, some people love them. So the sign for dorm is you're going to do a D, just like deaf, but with a D. Deaf. Or sorry, dorm. 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 Okay, so a couple things that I want to assign to you, and as I'm signing them, gonna give you a couple seconds to reply to me. So, but before I do that, I'm going to review these three signs and just copy with me. So the first one is house. The second one is apartment, and then we have dorm. Good job. Okay. I am going to sign a sentence and then you are going to reply. But I'm going to sign first without talking, without any dialogue. And then I'm going to see if you know what I'm saying. And then I will give you some dialogue to help you out with what I'm saying. So. Okay, so I said, you live in a house or apartment? Which? And remember, on which, you gotta lean forward because it's a WH question. And since I'm listing two things, I'm going to do house over here, and then I'm going to do apartment over here. The reason that you don't just do both of them in the middle, because it would look like you're talking about a house apartment. And that could be, some people live in something called a duplex, and that's kind of like an apartment. So that can just be kind of confusing. So you want to differentiate the two different places that you're talking about. Okay, so I asked you, live in house or apartment? Which? So your reply could be, me live in an apartment. Okay, so you're just going to answer with whatever you live in. Or, me live in a house. Or, me live in a dorm. So you can use any of those. So some of you may not live in any of these. Some of you may not live in a dorm, apartment, or a house. And you may live in a mobile home. For mobile home, you would just finger spell MH, mobile home. For townhouse, a townhouse, you would just finger spell TH, townhouse. And then a duplex. A duplex would be like a house that has two different sides of it and it's split up. Has two different doors, and you might not even see that person ever in your life. But a duplex is, you're just going to finger spell duplex. D-U-P-L-E-X. And some people live in a loft. L-O-F-T. Okay, so now we're going to talk about the size of your housing. So this little graph that we have right here, it is going to be the graph that shows the different sizes. So this first one, we're going to mark them first. It's going to be hard to write with this pen that I have, but I'm going to try my best. So this very first one is going to be large. I'll just put an L, large. Okay, and then the next one would be like a medium large, like kind of large. Medium, large. Okay, then a small medium, a schmedium, and then this last one is pretty small. Okay, so the signs for these are, large is, you have your L's and you just whoosh, large. Okay, the next one is medium large, and it is just like medium, medium large, medium large. So then, and then you have small medium, so you're going to sign small first. Small medium. Small medium. And then your sign for small is just like you signed with small medium, and it's small. Obviously the sign, well, I guess it's not very obvious, but depending on your size of your house can be the size of what your hand shape is. So if your house is large, you can be like, large. But if it's huge, you can be large, and your hands go past the screen. Large. But if it's kind of small, or it can be like tiny. I live in a doghouse. So it can be, depending on how big your house is, can also depend on the size of your hand shape for each of these. So I'm going to ask you a question like I did earlier, and you are going to reply. So I said large, small, which. So the only way that this is appropriate when you just say large or small, which you don't just walk up to somebody and say, are you large or small? You know, you have to make sure that they know what you're talking about. So the only way that you can just say large or small, which would be if you're already discussing this. So if I say, you live in a house or an apartment, which? Then you answer house. Then I say large or small, which? So that's the only time that this would be appropriate. But if you are just asking someone, how big is your house? Or how big is your apartment? You would say, so you would just add your apartment, large or small, which? And that's how it would be appropriate. And I mean, your answer would just be whatever it is, large. Or my house is big. All right, we are going to discuss the age of your house. So we have our handy dandy round chart. Oh man, that one messed up. Let's try that again. We have our little graph. And this very first one, let's use purple. This first one is 0 to 5 years, and so that's going to be a new house. So we're going to put an N. Then we have a little higher, maybe 6 to 15 years, and that's going to be kind of so-so, kind of new. And then the next one is going to be kind of old. Listen, I'm telling y'all, it's hard to write on the screen. I'm trying. And then obviously 50 plus years is going to be old. Okay, so these signs. New, you're going to put out your left hand and you're going to scrape, can you see? Scrape the inside. New. 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 Okay, then we have so new. So just new. How do you see me? New. Kind of new. Okay, so kind of old, so old. You're going to do that again. Old. Okay, kind of old. And then old is old. It's like you're growing a beard, an old man beard. Always think of Dumbledore. Long beard. Old. Old. So, after we continue our questions from what type of house do you live, or what type of residence do you live in, and then what size is your house? Now we're going to go to age, and the next question would be, I'm going to say house. House, old, or new? Which? Okay, so basically you're just going to pick between two of these. And you probably wouldn't typically say, is your house kind of old or kind of new? You're probably going to go to these first ones of new or old, because that's a less specific answer. And then if they would like to answer with kind of old or kind of new, then they can do that. So that is how you sign the age of the house.